Today's a great victory. It's a great victory for Sean Combs. It's a great victory for the jury system.
10 months ago, I broke down the dark psychology of Sean Diddy Combs. I talked about his obsession with control, manipulation tactics, and the quiet paranoia lurking beneath his public image. At the time, it was all theory, speculation, based on stories, whispers, and patterns. But today, it's no longer speculation. Today, it's documented. Diddy has now been convicted, though only partially. A jury found him not guilty of racketeering, not guilty of sex trafficking. But he was found guilty on 2 counts of transporting women for prostitution. In my opinion, that outcome feels strangely light. Considering the disturbing evidence that surfaced during the investigation, it almost seems like Diddy got away with most of it. But here's the real question. Does a partial conviction mean partial innocence? Or did the justice system simply stop at what it could prove in court? Because here's what wasn't introduced. At trial, the fear in the voices of his former partners. The disturbing descriptions of freak-offs, and the stories of assistants who had to treat him like a god. This isn't just a legal case. This is a portrait of a man who built his empire on control, dominance, and secrecy. And that's what today's story is about. The mind behind the mask. Producer. Cassie revealed that he selected the music, set the lighting, positioned the furniture, and even dictated where participants should stand, look, or move. Nothing happened without his say-so. These freak-offs often began in the dead of night, 2 or 3 a.m., and could last anywhere from 36 hours to 4 full days. That sleep deprivation wasn't an accident. It was a tactic, a way to break down resistance and ensure submission. During these sessions, Cassie was made to engage in sex acts with male escorts while Diddy watched, gave instructions, and recorded the footage. One of his favorite props was baby oil. Cassie said they'd go through 10 bottles or more per session. And sometimes he'd even have a kiddie pool filled with warm oil ready for her to climb into, wearing nothing but heels. When they ran low on supplies, he sent staff or hotel concierge to bring more. According to reports, federal agents later recovered over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant in his properties, an inventory of depravity that spanned years. Behind the scenes, Diddy's assistants weren't just employees, they were stagehands in his sexual theater. One assistant testified that his job was to prepare every hotel room before a freak-off. That meant laying out specific kits, condoms, baby oil, lube, and sometimes even setting up for bags used to rehydrate participants after days of drug use and physical exhaustion. Yes, for bags. That's how serious these events were. These weren't parties. They were rituals, and Diddy was the god everyone had to serve. But it wasn't just physical. The most chilling part was how Diddy got into people's heads. Cassie said she felt like her self-worth was tied to these events, that the only way she could feel close to him, the only way to make him happy, was to go through with these humiliating acts. After each freak-off, she felt ashamed, disgusted, and confused, but also relieved, because at least he wasn't angry. At least she did something right. That's not love. That's psychological conditioning. Diddy made her believe that being degraded was the same thing as being loved. That kind of mind control doesn't happen overnight. It takes time and repeated trauma. And when Cassie resisted, when she hesitated or said no, the punishment was immediate. Diddy would go cold, dismissive, sometimes violent. She and other women who came forward said that refusal was never an option. Fear became the real leash, and everyone in Diddy's orbit knew not to push him too far. Even hotel staff, bodyguards, and drivers began to understand their roles. This wasn't just abuse. It was a system, a hidden, veiled machine built to serve one man's fantasy, no matter the cost. So now we're left with this. Diddy was convicted of 2 counts of transporting women for prostitution. But he was not found guilty of trafficking or racketeering. Does that mean he's innocent of those things? Or does it mean the evidence simply wasn't strong enough to hold up in court? Because outside of court, we've seen enough. Cassie's tearful testimony, the gallons of baby oil, the 4 bags, the testimonies from staff who acted more like accomplices, and Diddy's own recordings, the ones he kept of these freak-offs, which federal investigators are still reviewing. So while the legal system may have only scratched the surface, the full truth, the real Diddy, is being exposed more and more every day. This isn't the end of the story. This is just another chapter in the long, dark saga of Diddy's empire, and we will keep following every thread. Because justice doesn't always happen in one courtroom. But that doesn't mean we stop.